Anything you want to say, babes?
I just want to say thank you very much to everyone that's out there fighting for me. Team that's come together, and the support has been amazing. I've got a table full of rock stars here that are all working tirelessly around the clock fighting for this cause with me. And I just want all you guys out there across the world to know that I'm going to justify your effort, and I'm going to come back stronger and bigger and badder. And once I get back on my feet, we're going to justify all this. Make sure that all you guys' efforts don't go unnoticed. We're going to come together and have a huge, huge party.
Ha ha! Hell yeah! I know my dogs are watching, and if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dog yet, you will be, because I'm Swede and I'm here to help you get busy living. And what is that? Well, that's a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But for most of us, it's what brings you the most joy. You know, when you're a child, joy came easy. Every time you heard your mom's voice, it was joyful. But as we get older, the realities of life tend to distract us, and we forget what brings us joy. We end up just kind of running around this hamster wheel, not even chasing joy anymore. But then the holiday season comes around, and the word joy is like synonymous with Christmas. So for a lot of people, getting busy living is having a good Christmas. So we're going to talk about Christmas. A lot of people, it's unwelcome because it adds, frankly, a lot of stress on their monthly budget, and it forces them to take a lot of time off work. And it's, to a lot of people, it's a distraction. But for most of us, it's a time when, man, we get to see a lot of the people we haven't seen all year, and it's usually in a joyful social environment and trading gifts. And that's what has me talking about Christmas tonight, because I'm all about generosity. I believe firmly that what you get back double in life. And none of us have perfect lives. That means we're getting back double our imperfections usually. And so, you can say what you want about what I'm dealing with right now. Maybe that one was a doozy. But point is that what you want out of life, if you just be the change, and if you want to feel joy, try to give some. And that's what's cool about Christmas, because it's not a scam, it's not a commercialized. I mean, it is commercialized and people do scam off it, but that's life. Commercialization is widespread in every manner. In fact, you wouldn't be seeing me right now if it wasn't for some level of that. So you're guilty of it if you're watching this. But no, so there's no reason to have a grudge against Christmas. Uh, it brings a lot of people a lot of good times. And so those of you that are stressing on it, I'm hoping that by the time we get done with this thing tonight, that at least have a little bit of a better idea about it, because it's a tradition that goes back as old as humans. And if you've watched this show and watched me and D-Rex, and by the way, shout out, girl, D-Rex is unable to make it. And I'm glad about that, because there was a version of her a year and a half ago or so, or maybe it was longer than that, that maybe wouldn't be out there getting busy living. But D-Rex is out there getting busy living. So silent clap for you, girl. I'm happy to hear it. So we're rolling solo tonight, but this is an easy one for me to talk about, man, because, you know, it really is something that I like to do when I'm trying to make decisions. And I think I like to analyze and think about the reasons behind why people act the way they do. And being that I have a background in studying humans, my first degree is a humanities degree, uh, I find it interesting to think about how humans are behaving all along, so that it maybe explains some things that we just write off as being humanistic nowadays, but they have roots and reason. So this giving tradition of Christmas, from what I can understand, and there's all kinds of theories, and you're welcome to have yours, but from what I understand, the original concept of giving around that time of the year was prehistoric humans trying to negotiate with the winter gods not to give them cold winters. So they started giving gifts to the gods. And so there you have it. Like, in the most basic, simple sense, the gift of giving we've been trying to use giving as a way of, negotiating our fate, since the beginning. So, it doesn't make sense that we think whatever we give, we get back double, like on a very like subconscious level. And so when you think about things on a broad scale with that angle in mind, uh, it explains a lot about what humans do. And whether you want to think about why we give during Christmas, or I mean, we all know the nativity story, but there's other traditions like Christmas trees. There was, there's a lot of philosophers in history that have talked about giving, and that have philosophies about Christmas. And we'll talk about some of them, but um, there was I think it was Rousseau, maybe, I'm not sure, but or it was German. Germans were the ones that were responsible for bringing it over, um, primarily. I mean, and it's throughout European history, but I believe the Germans are the ones that are most heavily credited for the Christmas trees. And it was a German philosopher, I think, that uh, first came up with or like artistically expressed the idea by bringing a tree in his house and using the tree to hold up a whole bunch of candles as the candles to represent the stars in the sky, because it really has always been about like giving giving for something bigger than you know so if you go into Christmas, you know looking at it like there's a reason that we all get joy from giving, uh, but acknowledge that everyone else is out there trying to do it, and make a sport of it. Because it makes sense why we do it. And so I'm going to say, before this day is over, you guys are gonna wish D-Rex was here. What's up, dog? Scooty Wells is in the house, and if anybody else in the house, go ahead and holler at me in the comments. For real, Swells, you probably feel me on that, man. You're a generous guy. And by the way, Swells, if you want to join me, I'm happy to shoot you an invite. Just raise your hand or shoot me a. I'm actually not looking at my text, so you have to talk to me here in the comments. But there's a lot of human behaviors that are explainable if you think about the way humans have been acting in their most basic, simplest forms in the very beginning, and how we've just gotten smarter and wiser and better and more able to adapt. And now we're so good at adapting, we're about to build non-natural life forms that are going to be smarter than us. So we're learning to adapt pretty well. There are actually humans on this planet that are anti-human. How's that? They're trying to create artificial intelligence that's smart enough to kill us. Dang, man. Wouldn't that be a way to go out? Like the Terminator comes in and you're like, no, we're not buying anything. And they just come in and grip you up and toss you out because they're superhuman robots. I mean, come on, man. Humans have come a long way, but we started off giving in Christmas time because we wanted the gods to go easy on us and keep the cold weather away. And then religion has their theories about why, like the three kings came when Jesus arrived, and the nativity scene, and I believe they brought gold and frankincense and what was the other thing? I know those were two of them, but so they set the tone when Jesus arrived. They came bearing gifts, and so um, and a lot of religions, and like I said, there's um, like even in medieval times, after like religion that caught hold and started widespread, everybody pretty much had a religion, and now we're incorporating religion and government is what's happening around that era. And they were having feasts in the wintertime, and everybody gathers around the king's table. It's one of my um, favorite things about the feudal times, man, and why I always wanted to be king, or I wanted to be in a castle, and my best friend could be the king, and I'd be the jester. But the way they celebrated was dope, man. Like they would summon all of the people that were doing really, really, really well in helping the community to come eat at the king's table, and mad gifts, and everybody brought gifts. I'm not sure if anybody knows where the tradition of wrapping the gifts comes from. I guess I could probably Google that shit. Uh, I'd be curious to know what that's about. Like who started wrapping gifts? I think it's just because we get pleasure out of unwrapping things. Like when we get food, we're used to like cracking it open if it's a nut or if it's a fruit or whatever, getting through it. So like we like opening stuff up to get it. I know what you're thinking, Swell. So I think maybe that wrapping, has some intrinsic joy in it too. Probably some reason that that we like to unwrap our gifts. Oh, thanks, brother Doug, with the Get Busy Living mug. So the point I was making about kind of those of us, because I ain't gonna lie, I kind of grew up sour about Christmas. But I can tell you about the best Christmas present I was ever given. 1996, I remember on Christmas Eve being over at Heather's house. That's my daughter's mom, my ex-wife, my high school sweetheart. Christmas Eve at her house was awesome. Her mom is an amazing cook and an amazing hostess, and everybody was eating and everybody had gifts. And every time Heather would let out a little chirp, it didn't matter if she was laughing or burping or squealing or what, everybody in the house was on edge because she was supposed to have Lyric 3 days ago. And the doctor's like, if you didn't have her by the 26th, like the day after Christmas, we're not going to make you come into the hospital. We'll let you get Christmas out. But if you don't have her by the day after Christmas, then come in. So all on Christmas Eve, Heather was super pregnant. And then all on Christmas Day, Heather was super pregnant. We went into Christmas, the night of Christmas Day. So going to sleep on Christmas, knowing that if she didn't go into labor in the next 6 hours, basically by 6 a.m., we had to be at the hospital. That was nerve-wracking. But man, that was the best. Like having that high level anticipation, anxiety, like my baby's about to be here on Christmas. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I ain't saying Lyrics Jesus, but it was high level anxiety on Christmas back in 1996. Thank you, Heather, for that. Thank you, Lyric. Thank you, Sandy, for that amazing Christmas. Wow. Swell says, aside from sup dog, he said, the earliest versions of gift wrap originate from the 1600s when the Japanese introduced the furoshiki, a reusable wrapping cloth, into their gifting techniques. Scooty Wells in the house. So yeah, I like to think it's because we like just taking stuff off of things like clothes. I bet that's where unwrapping comes from. Well, then Swells, Google it. Perfect. That's my dog. No, it's where was I? No, straight up Swells. Where was I? Oh, so yeah, we were talking about the medieval times. So the one of my favorite things about that was the king, when it was time for him to come down and greet everybody that was his guests, had a hallway that led from his room. One side of it was open like a loft walkway that just circled around the castle, and they marched. Like the jester would come. The jester was responsible for getting all the people in the town to come in. Like he was the one that got to go out and say, "Okay, you're the best like bricklayer. You get to come to dinner. You're the best goat guy. Come to dinner." And and once everybody gets there, the jester gets everybody together. Like it's his job to go get the king and like come down and like greet the guests. So that's why you see the jesters dancing, because they lead the march. Like that would be the job for me, man. Like I would rather Swells. You could be the king. You're definitely more manly than me. You got that gig. I'll never forget the time Swells headbutted me in the nose. Scott, you better hope I don't tell that whole story. So anyway, yeah, man, being the jester would be dope compared to being the king. I mean, I wouldn't mind being king, but I would prefer to be the jester. It's less pressure, more fun, just to throw the party. So the king would come and sit down, and the jester's the one that lead the toast. Like talking about eating like kings. So cheers to that. But then after medieval, I think like Christmas became more of a performance during the Renaissance, is how I understand it. Like it started as a natural instinct, a survival technique, the spirit of giving in the winter, and then became like now it's a practice. Like in the Renaissance, because they made an art out of it. You know what I mean? And then, but it always centered around giving gifts. And why? Why? We get joy from giving gifts because we're chemically programmed over the past hundreds of thousands of years, if not longer. Well, definitely longer, because there were creatures on this planet before humans that were almost as smart as us. you know, like we're the latest evolution, but we've only been around a couple 100,000 years. But before that, they were giving gifts in winter. You know, um, and that's why the reason we get joy, we assimilate joy to it, just like we assimilate joy to laughter, and like sadness and pain and that kind of thing. Like these are all natural, ways for our brain to operate. And so it's like the joy that you get from giving is it's as old as humans. It's older than humans. So you know, don't let the stress of finances and the time stress that are inevitable, if that's how your life is set up. And it's some of us. It's not easy out there, man. Especially these days. And I know I'm struggling too. But point is that if it's so tough that it's hard for you to find joy in Christmas because it feels like pressure, just remember that it originated from ancient humans offering the gods gifts to protect them from the cold weather, to have mercy on them. And when they made it through the year, it made them feel like giving the gifts worked. Does that make sense? So, what better way to feel joy than knowing that, okay, all winter long I'm going to give gifts to the gods or to each other, and that's what it grew into. But it was originally just sacrifices. It wasn't like gifts the way we describe it. It was a sacrifice. They were offering the gods foods that they could eat or each other, in exchange for mercy. And so instead of letting the pressures that come with the holidays and all the extra time off and the squeeze on the budget and and the depression, man. I mean, I know what it's like. Like there are people out there that got huge families and 17 sisters and all that jazz, and that means and a good dad, and so they're like all together at Christmas. And if that dad was a good dad, had a good dad, and he had a good dad and a good mom, then you might have grandpa and great grandpa there too. I know when I was coming up, I loved Christmas because I got to see my grandpa Swede, who was born in Sweden, Sweden Joe. I heard rumors that he made that name up when he came over, Sweden Joe. I think I've heard my aunt say that was just how they interpreted it when he said it at the dock, but that wasn't his original name. And I haven't gone through with the whole 23andMe like DNA stuff. I don't want to find out I've been wrong all along. But so yeah, Grandpa Swede came over on the boat, and like the traditions that come with that, um, people that have generational success, um, especially if it's financial. But I mean, to me, having a large family is success as well, especially when you all get to get around on Christmas and share with each other. But for those of us that don't have tons of siblings or aunts and uncles and such, it can be a threat. It can be a pressure. It can be a isolation. And it helps to think about the reasons that you're supposed to feel it. It's not about all those external reasons. It's about being thankful that you're going to make it through the winter. I have no doubt I'm going to make it through the winter. Well, I don't know, man. The way I've been getting curveballs thrown at me when it comes to maintaining this situation here, I had a couple close calls in 2023. Say what up in the comments if you're listening. If you have any comments about Christmas that you'd like to share. But the reason that I wanted to bring that up and sit on that for a while is because I'm dedicated to reciprocating the generosity. And I think that generosity is like, it's a way of describing how humans evolved to learn about giving. We learn to not just give in a plead for mercy, but we got to recognizing that it feels good to do it. So then we started doing it a lot, and that's when we became civilized. That's when humans started like actually looking out for each other instead of competing with each other. And I think generosity is one of the ways to characterize that. The joy that you get from giving a lot made people want to, be communal instead of so competitive. And man, if it wasn't for humans being generous people, if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be here. So this is the last podcast I'll be doing before my 6-year anniversary, or should I say birthday, because I kind of died and was born again that day. Thankfully, I don't remember it. It's funny how your brain has a way of blocking out stuff like that. But the story I was told was I was dragged out from underneath a pile of rubble and delivered to the hospital by 5 local villagers, Balinese guys. And that was awfully generous of them to dig me out of there and give me a ride. And I had my phone and my money on me when I woke up in the hospital the next day. That's pretty generous, And then I contacted my partner back then, Micah, and she showed up immediately. And that was awfully generous of her, And then right by her side, then Trana and Rob showed up, eventually Elmo, and then in swoops Scooty Wells, my dog. First one of my, prior team. Like, that was my Bali team. Rob was my homie. Elmo was my homie. Micah was my girl. Trana was my girl. Like, those were my people, And they were awfully generous with their time when I needed them. Like, I've seen videos. I wasn't there mentally. Actually, I was there mentally for a little bit of it. I have like a dream static memory of telling Rob that I was wall art. I was hallucinating so bad. I couldn't move, but I was so medicated that my mind wasn't working right. And I thought I had been hung on the wall. People kept on walking up and leaning over to talk to me because I wasn't sitting up and I couldn't move. And so all I could do was look left and right. And it felt like I was hanging on a wall. And it was the most craziest thing. But I remember that from being there. I remember Micah tripping out about them not helping me and resuscitating me. Actually, I don't remember I remember the resuscitating, and then she ran around the room screaming that nobody would help me. And then I remember Drana arriving and Micah breaking down, and then Drana helping. And then I don't remember anything after that for a long time. And then Swells showing up, I remember, and talking to Rob about being wall art. And then I remember getting on the jet and vaguely remember Scott waking me up on New Year's Eve. Vaguely. I vaguely recall what it looked like. It was dark in the ICU room and the window was there and it was light. I could see the light coming in and him being like, You made it. You made it to 2018. My dog. So, that was awfully generous of you, Scott, to fucking quit your job and leave your fiance behind and go meet your parents on her own for Christmas. And you're in Bali for Christmas, not sleeping. Shout out to Scooty Wells. If you're in the comments, give Scooty Wells a hell yeah. And yeah, man, if it wasn't for your surgery, you probably would have stayed there longer. Luckily for your girl, you had surgery because she was missing you. I think that's a great story. You guys' story. Not everybody has a great beginning to their relationship story, but you guys got a good one. But yeah, man, that was awfully generous of you, man. Then JFT also coming over there, hooking me up. And then, wow. Waking up 2 weeks later, really, from the last time I had made any conscious decisions and looking at social media and the internet and seeing what transpired when I was in a coma and how generous the world was to me. and then Scott. So then I'm going through Facebook. I'm just gonna play it. So I'm going through Facebook and I'm like, and I watch this video, and I'm like, I look over and Scott's right there. I'm like, really, dude? 20,000 views?
You're live.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. The internet here cut off. But anyway,
You can't turn your phone while live. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's what it says.
we still good.
We're still good.
We're still there. We're still good. Swede's still getting massaged. Come on in here.
Come on in.
What's up, Swede?
Anything you want to say, babes?
Yeah, did we catch any of that from last
No,
time?
not really.
Okay, so listen, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone that's out there fighting for me. The team that's come together and the support has been amazing. I've got a table full of rock stars here that are all working tirelessly around the clock, fighting for this cause with me. And I just want all you guys out there across the world to know that this is, I'm going to justify your efforts, and I'm going to come back stronger and bigger and badder. And we're going to come together, and once I get back on my feet, we're going to do something major. And we're going to justify all this, make sure that all you guys' efforts don't go unnoticed. We're going to come together and have a huge, huge party.
You got anything to say to the Steelers? Woohoo!
To the nation.
To the nation.
I was chasing that damn hat because I know that it's the greatest club on earth. And so I'm representing you guys, and I hope that you guys are representing me. And I'm looking forward to watching that Texans game.
Yeah.
Here soon.
That's right.
That's right.
And let's climb this stairway to 7. Go Steelers.
Go Steelers. Woo, woo, woo. So he's getting a full body massage here. Well, not full.
When the live video stops, he does.
That's the wrong live video, guys.
All right, guys. We'll update you as soon as we
We'll
have something
update you
more.
soon, guys. Thank you. All right.
Wow. I just remember how painful my hands were. Like it was, yeah. Felt really good to have my hands massaged. And to have you guys there by my bed, like that's what it was like, y'all. Like it was like that for days, man. And they just taking turns, and wow. So coming out of that, and knowing that that happened. I don't know how, I've had countless people say, man, if that were me, I'd this or that, and I'm really proud of one of the first gifts I got when I got to the States. My girl Casey sent me a plaque. It's a Bob Marley quote. It says, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have." And it's like everybody says, "Man, I don't know how you do it. If it was me, I tell you what, if it was you, you'd do it." Most of us have killer instinct. Granted, we're not like begging the gods to spare us our lives every winter. So we're not as tough customers as we used to be when we were living in the wild. But all of us have killer instinct and survival tactics. And most people that are lucky enough to be rescued, you know, can do it. You know, and you have to just understand, have faith in yourself. you know, um, I know that what I never had a doubt, man. I don't know why, but I never had a doubt. From the time I realized I was paralyzed, I still have not spent a moment thinking about what it would be like to be paralyzed forever. I have not thought about that because I know I'm not gonna be. So I don't even put my head there. But even if, others, they say that life expectancy decreases 60% when you suffer a spinal cord injury that leads to paralysis. So if you were supposed to live 100 years, then you'd only live 40. And if you're supposed to live 20 more years, then you only live 8 more years. And so those are the stats. So a lot of people don't make it as long as they would have. It's not because they can't or don't have the killer instinct. It's because the truth is that when your body is just laying there not moving, it's not designed to last like that. And so it doesn't work. And imagine if you had a huge house and you cut the electricity and heat and everything off from it and just left it lie dormant. Eventually, stuff would grow in there, and eventually it would deteriorate, And that's pretty much what happens with a paralyzed body. It's like deteriorating. So it's not that people that have gone through this aren't fighting. It's just that it's a tough fight and the body breaks down. Knowing that it was a great deal of generosity that gave me a second lease on life only solidifies what I've believed for a long time. In fact, I think I might have shared this before, but I'm going to share this again. I've believed for a long time that generosity was the key. So I'm going to try to see if I can't share this with y'all. May 15th, 2016. Scooty Wells, you should jump on and try to read it. He's like, I can't read it like you, man. You got to, I'll try to do it in your voice. There was a time when my spirit was suppressed. I was lost inside a race of rats stuck behind a desk. My vision was so blurry and my heartbeat hurt my chest. I saw others living fulfilled lives, wishing I'd been blessed. But deep down inside, I knew we're all of one of God's creatures, each deserving to enjoy his life, regardless of natural features, regardless of lack of silver spoons, or regardless of where we're from. the mastermind behind it made enough for everyone to have some. With that thought, I realized I had bought the opinions of those around me. I realized I'd been sickened by the attitudes that surround me. I'd been listening to everyone talk about all the things they cannot do. They wish they were born into money or with a perfect boob or two. I noticed that the happy ones were the ones who weren't wishing. They were making things happen while the complainers were gone fishing. So I started studying the ones who had what I wanted, comparing them to the people whose lives seemed to be haunted. The difference seemed that the blessed weren't really working that much harder. They weren't even the ones who were lucky enough to be born so much smarter. Most often, the people who were living the life I want to live were the ones who were always the first in line to give. Whether lending an ear or a helpful hand or sparing some extra dough, it appears to me that generosity is the best way to go. I'm not saying I'm donating organs and giving up my only meal, but it's amazing what being genuinely generous has made me feel. And more than the universe seems to have taken notice to my deeds, some awesome opportunities are growing from planting all those generosity seeds. Now I'm living the life I grew up knowing I deserve, all because when opportunity knocked and it was time to change, I had the nerve. So if any of my story sounds familiar to you, if you want more out of life and just aren't sure what you need to do, feel free to reach out to me and we can put our heads together. Until then, I'll just be over here enjoying life's beautiful weather. That was a year before I got injured, a little more than a year. I like to think not about the terrible things I could have done that the universe felt I deserved to be maimed. I like to think of the wonderful things I've done that the universe thought I deserved to be saved. And I'm trying to live in that world because it encourages me to continue to try to do wonderful things.
But you gotta believe me.
So I'm trying to do some awesome things for Shaper. Trying to do some awesome things here. So originally, as those of you that were around back then know, this was supposed to be a fundraiser to try for my friends to help me get stem cells. But I founded the Help Swede Walk Again organization officially as a nonprofit, and I'm making it about getting other people. I believe that what you give, you get back double. And I believe that by trying to help others, I will feel more joy. That gift of giving will be more joyful. And I have no doubt, if I help enough others, good things will happen to me. No doubt. And that's why I like Christmas these days. Because it gets everybody out there, feeling joy and giving. And man, if you are tied in any way, shape, or form to politics these days, you're probably a little bit scared and stressed and upset, under pressure. If you don't, good for you. Ignorance is bliss. But for whatever reason, whatever might be going on in your life, that could cause you to feel deflated or kind of bah humbug about Christmas. I recommend that you view it as an easy win. It's easy to feel joy in the Christmas time. Just get on board and let the wind created by everyone else's happy momentum be the wind at your back and move forward. It feels good to have fun during the holidays and celebrate, And if if you can't find a reason to, first of all, if you can't afford to give a gift, man, your presence is the presence. Your presence is the present. And I could probably. So, by the way, what I just read is an example of what you'll find in the Life in a Year of Swedism's book. So, for $50, 1,000 donations at $50 a piece gets Schaefer the stem cells, gets 1,000 people books, and gets 2 people on a trip to Alaska with Scooty Wells. And if you want to know what a trip to Alaska with Scooty Wells would be like, go ahead and check out the podcast episode he did about a month and a half ago, I guess. What is an epic adventure in Alaska? Can you imagine having free reign of that countryside and being able to do all the amazing things you can do up there? It's your pick. You get 2 excursions. You're going to get an awesome camping vehicle, and you're going to go see some of the most beautiful parts of God's green earth with Scooty the Wolf Wells. Take you fishing, take you camping, take you hiking. If you want to fly, if you want to get on a boat, he got your back. If you want to get on an ATV, you want to get on a river, he got your back. It's a beautiful thing. So what we're going to do is, after those first 1,000 reservations at $50 a piece or more, by all means, I'm going to pull a name out of the hat and send them +2 on 6 nights. 6 nights, 7 days in Alaska with swells. Now, we are also, because it's about getting Schaefer to Panama. So if we get him there sooner, that's better. Oh, sucky now, just in time for Christmas, but no time to wait. So go to the hswa.org and click on the menu dots where you'll find the donate tab that leads to the Schaefer Squad merch link. Scroll past the greeting to find our wide range of Schaefer Squad merch, from adult tees, kid tees, onesies, and beanies for the babies, adult hoodies, hats and kicks, an apron for the cook, a hoodie for the pet, and a puzzle for the family. All prices include the outrageous cost of shipping, and all proceeds go toward helping Schaefer get a potentially life-changing stem cell treatment. You gotta believe it. And always remember, we're all in this together.
You can see it when you see me, but you gotta believe me. Ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, I fucking work for this.
I love that picture of Mez and Schaefer sleeping together on the couch. That's such a daddy dude moment. I love that. So this is the goal here. I believe with one, by sending one person, if I can get, if my personal influence is enough to get one person there, I believe that the other institutions that have the ability to get lots of them there, I can talk them into using their money to do that too. If they're willing to do it, I don't need their money. I just want more people. I just want to be the reason that more people are having their lives impacted the way that my life was impacted. So I don't even care if I touch the money. I just want to get this kid there. And that to me that's better than earning money. And so you can go to the hswa.org. You can get Schaefer Squad merchandise. There's also a way for you, actually. Let me see if I can get that up here. There's a way for you to just get on a recurring donations list as well. And so you just you can hit Schaefer Squad here, or you can hit donate. So the Schaefer Squad is where the merch is at. And then hit donations, and that's where you can do the recurring donations. And we've got some folks doing this, and we really appreciate that. It's amazing. I mean, that's how I know that eventually we'll get there no matter what, because because of the way people are. I mean, the generosity is just amazing. So we're getting there. So you can do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, annual donations and make them recurring. $1 a month. Get enough people doing $1 a month. We could be sending 10 people a year to get stem cells. Because it doesn't cost much to execute this business. It's not an expensive business to execute. So just about all of the money that comes this way goes towards that. The reason that we did the book 50,000 is the goal to raise 50,000 donations, right? $50 at 1,000 donations. That's 50 grand. That's how much it costs to send Schaefer on the stem cells, to make the books, and to put the people to Alaska. Why did we do that? Why did we make it a $50,000 project instead of just how much ever it costs to get stem cells there? Because that gets you the book and it gets 2 people on a trip to Alaska. And what is that called? It's called Getting Busy Living. I told you guys, I'm trying to help everybody. The people that don't need stem cells or don't think they have a problem, or that aren't viable, aren't really a good use of stem cells. Those of you that are healthy enough to not need stem cells, I want to still be able to help you get busy living too. So I'm sharing my book with you, and I'm sending 2 of you to Alaska. And I've got my own hustle. This is not my income. This is a nonprofit. This is nonprofit, right? This is here to get people to Panama for the stem cells. I know that I've made this point before, but it's the holiday season. And if you're going to be giving, by all means, get the best, the most bang for your donation dollar is the book, because that's going to get possibly you on a vacation, but somebody on a vacation. That's bang. That's life-changing. Like I said, I want to repay the generosity that was bestowed upon me to have my life saved by making an impact on people's lives. So I know I can impact you if you read my book. No question. That's, I believe, from what I was told by many about the people that came out of the woodwork to help me, it's because they've been reading what I've been writing. That's crazy. But that's pretty cool. So that's why the book that's why it's there. It's so you can get your hands on the stuff I've written. And so that's an impact there being made. And then impacting 2 lives by taking them to Alaska with swells. That's a hell of an impact. And then by sending people to get stem cells, that's an impact. So the way that I'm doing it is by spending time doing this, and I filed with the IRS as a nonprofit so that it's trustworthy, because it's all transparent when it's through the IRS. So you guys can rest assured that it's legit. Oh, Louise, what's up, girl? Thank you. I love you. Swells. Dad's in the house. Hell yeah. Thanks, Pop. I appreciate that. Thank you for noticing. I damn sure am trying. Damn sure am. I got to give credit where credit is due. I wouldn't be doing nearly as much, if it wasn't for, there's been a lot of people behind the scenes, but one person in particular that's been in front of it all is D-Rex. And so I got to give her props. And then, right behind her is Swells, so, just do unto others as they had done unto you. And so on. Yeah. I appreciate it, man. It's a joy. It's a joy to execute. I have a lot of things in life that stress me out. And I used to be a lot better at dealing with stress pre-injury. I have a lot of things that get to me. But this ain't one of them, man. I break away from the stresses to pursue this, to pursue, man, got a text from Laura, and she said Schaefer saw his stuff that we've been working on, and was happy. He was like, he's famous, he said. And that just warms my heart to have that kind of an impact on a kid, man. Shafe, I hope you're watching, bro. We got your back, man. We're putting in the time and effort here, buddy. And we know you're doing your part, man. You guys have seen the videos. You see how hard this kid works. So keep up the good work, bro, for real. If we can, so here's some more good news. Since we're on the subject of good news, um, I've been talking with several different schools on the graduate level about nonprofit management. And this will be the first time in my education career that I've turned towards an avenue that could be tied to my income or the income I'm generating, revenues I'm generating, and or or career. I guess that's a better way of putting it. The career, because my first degree is humanities degree. I wasn't gonna have a humanities career. I majored in music. I wasn't gonna. I've never tried to get paid to be a musician. I just do it for fun. And the second degree is nutrition. I was learning that because I was trying to figure out how to fix myself before I found out that there was far faster routes. So I was never going to be getting paid to be a nutritionist. I wanted to study nutrition so I could learn how the human body works. But now turning towards a nonprofit management grad school is actually getting the education behind what we're building here. And I say we because I know that that people are watching. I get your texts and I appreciate you guys. And not a lot of stir online, not a lot of comments, and like the not a lot of spreading of the word so much. By the way, please like and share and all that stuff. Like this, if you like this episode, I'm not saying if your opinion is that you like it. I'm saying if you physically like it, like click the like button, that helps. But yeah, no, this brings me joy. I get away from if I can break away from the medical upkeep. That's a full-time job. Every day is medical upkeep, and if I can break away from that, to do this, it brings me joy. And imagining imagining those guys getting on the plane to go to Panama because we did it. Just drives me. Imagining that drives me. You guys have probably heard me talk about something that D-Rex and I started doing last summer, 10 minutes in heaven. You just check out for 10 minutes and close your eyes and try to turn your body off, deactivate all your senses and just let your mind fly and communicate with the universe in however way it does. Some people call it praying, but if you're not supposed to be thinking outwardly. You're supposed to be thinking inwardly. So it's not really like praying. But other people say that the universe is on the inside. So to those that think that way, it kind of is. However you think of it, it's about deactivating your senses and your thoughts and imagining, because we are creatures of habit, and we begin every day avoiding the risks that we've learned to avoid from yesterday. So we're always thinking about yesterday. And this is Joe Dispenza talking, and he tells us to instead of thinking about reliving our past by thinking about what we did yesterday and what we're supposed to do today according to yesterday's schedule, live in the future. Like always be thinking about what you're going to be doing, and that puts you forward, puts you falling forward. So for 10 minutes a couple times a day back last summer, and I still take 10 minutes in heaven pretty regularly, and it's very helpful, but I don't do it 3 times a day. But you just close your mind off and you imagine your best case scenario. Imagine where you are right now, and then think of all your dreams coming true, and what you would look like if all your dreams came true. Who would be standing next to you? Where would you be? What would it smell like? What would the temperature be like? What direction is the sun hitting your face? Is it warm? Are you wet? Are you surrounded? Are you alone? Imagine your best case scenario. Hair blowing. I always imagine the wind at my back and my hair blowing, even when I had short hair. But imagine that, and then just try to live that dream. Let your mind wander in that space. Just imagine what you would do, how you would be acting. What would you be saying to the people around you? Just be that person. Like, take your mind there and spend 10 minutes in heaven where you're there. You're like, 5 years from now, I'm going to be in heaven. And it's the best possible outcome. And when you imagine that best possible outcome, and you get good enough at disconnecting from your senses and just being in your brain in that place, your body doesn't know the difference when you reconnect. As long as you don't remind it. And that's what he teaches, is to how to reprogram yourself into making your best possible outcome come true, because then you just live in that direction. You imagine your best case scenario and reverse engineer backwards until you get to where you are. If it's physically possible to do that, then you should be working towards that. If your best possible outcome, if heaven for you is you're like an NBA ball player, well, and you're not one yet. You probably ain't. You can't reverse engineer that one. So be realistic. And honestly, dream your biggest dream and try to reverse engineer it. If it's not possible, adjust your dream. Don't make it smaller, just make it different. It doesn't have to be any less awesome, but think big and fall forward. You know what I mean? And tell someone you love them. I made it a conscious effort when I decided I was going to talk about this a couple of days ago. I made it a conscious effort yesterday, and I didn't go to a lot of places, but to every person I came in contact with, I gave them a compliment. I looked for something about them. First of all, I made sure that I engaged everyone that I came in contact with. And I mean, I didn't stop people as they were walking out of the store when I was walking in, but anybody that I had, a reasonable amount of an exchange with, I gave them a compliment. So I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. I did that with every person in the office, eventually at one point or another. And then at the gas station or at Starbucks. And where else did I go? Oh yeah, I went to two coffee shops. And everyone I engaged, and it's crazy. Giving a compliment brings you joy, and those are easy wins. If you don't have time to give someone, because your presence is always the best present, and you don't have money to give someone, give them a genuine, heartfelt compliment. Everybody has something that's complimentary about them. Everyone, everyone. And if you can't find one just upon looking at them and talking with them shortly, ask them about themselves, engage with them, and then guess what's happening? You're giving them your time, and your presence is the best present. So for those of you guys that have been with me live on this, I appreciate you for being present with me. Thank you for engaging with me. I love you, my family. And for those of you that are going to spend time with me watching this in the future, thank you. Your presence is the best present. And I hope that you can understand why it feels so good to give. You don't even have to beg for mercy anymore. It just feels good. We've learned that as humans. It's a part of our nature now. Generosity motivates all of us. It's a survival technique now. It's no longer a mystery. Now you know why. So go into this season and enjoy everybody else giving, and feel the joys of generosity. Swing on by the hswa.org and help me get Schaefer down to Panama. And if you can't do that, at least share this with somebody. Maybe somebody else will help us get Schaefer down. But regardless, if it's not that type of support, If it's not sharing us, it's the type of support. If it's you being here live, that type of support. I'll tell you what, I'm living proof that that stuff matters. So whether you want to donate your time or your effort or your presence, just always remember, we're all in this together. Always remember, no matter the weather, whether sunshine or rain, there's no joy without pain. Always remember, we're all in this together. Can I get a hell yeah? I hear ya. Hell yeah. Seriously, y'all. Couldn't do it without you. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Got a doozy coming at you next week. Yeah, yeah.
But you gotta believe me, ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, I fucking work for this. I fucking work. I fucking work. You can see it when you see me, but you gotta believe me, ain't nothing coming easy my way.
Yeah, yeah.